It's always so weird to jump on because we don't have the theme music. And
Yeah.
when Timmy's not here, what's up, everybody? It's Adam and Rubber Shoes. We are doing ATB at the buzzer. You can go to atbshow.com. Check it out. We're a little early today. I like starting a little early. We can start early and sort of get our feet wet and then get really into the meat of the show by 5 o'clock. So you can stream us every Wednesday night, usually at 5 o'clock on YouTube. And Rubber Shoes is checking out all the socials to
Yeah.
make sure everybody knows we're rocking today. It's the ATB show brought to you by AAA Work Trucks. Rubber Shoes, can you do two things at once?
Yep.
All right.
Brought to you by AAA Work Trucks, your one-stop shop for all your work truck needs. If it goes in or on a vehicle, it's a good bet. AAA can take care of it for you. Give them a call at 866-783-6222 or check them out online at aaaworktrucks.com.
We have a lot to get to today, but I'm going to start here because um, Rubber
So
Shoes is oh, go ahead.
let me ask you one question because I'm pretty sure I probably butchered her name, Sabrina.
Amazing. That's where you're going to start. That's where
Yeah.
I was going to start too. All right, good. Go ahead. Ask your question.
I, how do you say her last name? Because I
Ionescu.
at first I thought it was an L, and I'm like,
Yeah.
why is it so weird? I'm like, oh, it's an I. So I think
Yeah.
I said I Ionescu.
Yeah,
Ionescu,
yeah,
I think
you
is
were
how I
you
said
were
it.
relatively close, but
Yeah.
I will say it's not it's not like Smith. It's not an easy
Right.
name to pronounce. But yeah, the reason we're mentioning that is because Rubber Shoes promotes the show every week. God bless him. Goes on there in the morning. It's like 4 in the morning, right? You do it, or 4 or 5 in the morning. You do
Yeah,
a
actually.
promo
So
for the
I
show.
used to go to the gym and then come back and do it, but then I found that I was always rushing around getting
Yeah,
ready for work. So now I wake up and I do it before I go to the gym. So I'm it's posted usually if I can do it before I leave the house, it's posted by 4:30. If not, I do it before I get inside the gym at 5.
okay,
So it's usually up by 5 o'clock on days that I am not working the night before at the fire station.
yeah. And what when you're at the fire station, do you get up super early still or no?
No, I get relieved at like somewhere between 7 and 7:30,
Oh,
and then
okay.
I come home and sometimes I do it before. So I come home and I go to the gym. Sometimes I do it before I go to the gym. Sometimes that
Like
because
I
then
don't
I
even know how you have the energy to do all of this. It's actually amazing to me. You're a firefighter and you go to the gym after your shift at the fire
actually
station. I
so
mean,
I used to go straight to work from the fire station, and the older I've gotten, the harder the next day is.
yeah.
And I found so I talked to Leslie and I said, "Do you mind if I try going to the gym first to see if that helps me wake up?" And because there was days I was just like in a fog all day, and
Oh,
then
I bet.
when you're like that, you end up making mistakes. So I asked her, she's like, "Yeah, go ahead." And so I go to work a lot clear. My head's a lot more clear
Hmm.
going to work after going to the gym. So it definitely has helped a lot.
Yeah, man. I gotta personally first. I gotta get to the gym. I haven't even been to the gym in months. So, God bless you. And it's unbelievable. So not only does he have two jobs, but he also like runs our social media for ATB. So if you see ATB anywhere on social, it's mostly Rubber Shoes. Probably 99.9% Rubber Shoes.
Yeah, people
So
got to be getting sick of seeing my face.
well, we have the hat of the day, the jersey of the day. He promotes the show every week. So the reason we were talking about it is because this week he promoted that we would talk about, and we'll just lead off with it since we already dove
Yeah,
into it.
yep, yep.
That Steph Curry basically in sort of lighthearted way uh, challenged Sabrina Ionescu, who, if you missed it at this year's WNBA All Star Game, put up the most points ever scored by a man or a woman in the 3 point contest. And so he challenged her to come to the NBA All Star game, and they're going to have a battle between the two of them at the 3 point contest. So I'll give my thoughts on it first, and I want to hear what you have to say. So I think it's terrible that they're doing it from a different distance. I think they should both do it from the same distance, and she can hit an NBA three. It's not that much further back, and it just differentiates it more. I think it's fine that they're shooting with different size balls. I think the different size balls make sense because, you know, just biologically, men's hands are bigger than women's hands. I think that just makes a lot of sense. But the different line to me is makes it seem a little bit less than. Um, but other than that, I think it's great. I think it's going to be great for the WNBA, which I'm excited about. I think it provides a little bit more excitement for the NBA, actually, because the All Star game has gotten so stale and boring over the years. So at least it's something new that people might tune in for.
I think
So
people
I'm
tune in for
excited
the
for it.
skill stuff more than the game. I think.
Yeah, I think you're
Although
probably
those,
right.
the all the different changes, I like the 3 point contest is still good because
Yeah.
it is like they've added extra balls and stuff like that, but it's still kind of the same thing. The dunk contest has gotten ridiculous.
Well, they haven't figured out a way to make the dunk contest interesting in a long time. I mean, there's only so much you can do, right? I mean, everything's been done from jumping over a car to the D Brown,
Yeah.
thing with his
So,
covering his
but the
eyes and
thing
everything.
now is, you know, there's a lot more misses now because they're
Yeah.
being rushed to do like they have only so much time to get the dunks in, and just back in the day it was you get a dunk, you get 2 tries at it if you
Right.
miss, which they take points off if you miss.
Yeah.
And now it's like they don't even take points off if it's your like fourth time, you know.
I know.
Like when they're missing 3 4 times, and it's hard to watch.
Yeah. It's not because it takes the skill out of it, right? I mean, obviously I can't dunk, but if you're a guy who's been identified as somebody who is good enough at dunking that they're going to put you in a competition on the biggest stage that the NBA has, you should be able to do it in 2 dunks, 2 tries.
Yeah.
If you can't do
Well,
it in
that's
two
another
tries,
thing is they're
move on.
the, the best dunkers in the league aren't even doing it. Like
Right.
back in its heyday, it was the best of the best doing it. Now, you know, you got it. Although I think one of the best ones lately was the year that actually it might have been last year. McClung
Oh yeah, he was
was
amazing.
invited to do it, and
Yep.
he put on a really good show.
So I guess my guess is I haven't looked at who they have yet, but my guess is they'll bring a G League guy or two in since that was so successful
Yeah,
last year. Although I haven't heard a word from him. Is he back in the G League? I don't even know. Probably,
yeah.
right? I know at
Don't
the
know.
end of the
Actually,
last
so
season he had signed with the Sixers for a little while, but
I think Tyler got a so we collect sports cards, and
get out of here.
I think he got a McClung autograph card
Wow.
recently.
Okay.
Probably not worth much, but it's kind of a cool thing to have.
Yeah, that's not a bad one to have. If
It's a
you
good
collect, it's
story,
not bad. Yeah, absolutely. What do you think about Sabrina and Steph going at it in the three
So I
point shooting
wonder
contest?
if I'm definitely gonna as long as I'm not at the fire station. Usually, the fire station dictates whether I can watch stuff or not.
Sure.
But
Yeah.
if I'm home, I'll definitely be watching. I hope I'm curious to see if she actually shoots from the men's line because she's mentioned that she wants to shoot from the men's line.
Yeah.
And I mean, all she has to do is step back to it. She unless they set up the balls where it's hard for her to step back to it. But she can.
Right.
I mean, those are on wheels. She can move it back, and which I think that would be a great thing. Is if Steph goes first and she goes second, and it's all set up for her at the woman's line, and then she just
Yeah.
wheels them all back. That would
That would
be
be awesome.
good theater.
She's basically said she wants to do it from the NBA line.
Yeah. Yep.
I these 3 point shooting is obviously much different than dunking, right? I mean, you watch any like Caitlin Clark game, she's shooting from the logo. It's not as reliant on biology as dunking is. So the women can certainly do it from the same distance as the men. Some of
Yeah.
them, I mean, obviously not all of them can, but so I'd like to see them do it from the NBA stripe. But it'll be interesting. It's another week before the. I think it's next. No, it's 2 weeks from now. 2 weekends from this
Yeah.
weekend,
It's the
and
weekend after the Super Bowl.
right, the weekend after the Super Bowl, right, which we do need to talk about a little bit too. I'm sure, although we'll get to it next week quite a bit. Um, and so the Celtics still have A few weeks left, or a week and a half or so left of games. And are you shaky at all on the Celtics? I know they have the best record in the NBA. I know that
Yeah.
they're, you know,
So they
put
kind
up
of went
80
through
points
this little.
yesterday in the first half, but
They went through a skid last year at the same time.
yeah,
They they haven't played well, but also they haven't had Porzingis in what three straight games until last night.
right.
Um, I'm I'm re- I'm not I'm not worried. I think that it might be getting tired. It might be a good time for the break,
Yeah.
and I just would would they have won last night if Halliburton had finished the game?
I don't know.
That
It's a
that's
really good
they
question.
barely beat them. Giving up
Right.
the lead in the third quarter. That's you know it's almost like they're one or the other. They either have a great third quarter or they have a horrible third quarter.
Right. It's almost like a given that they're one quarter out of the entire game, they're going to have a terrible
Yeah,
quarter. And it's usually not the first. Usually they have a pretty good first. Sometimes it's the second, sometimes it's the third. Very rarely is it the fourth, but it's almost like, and I don't even know how you could go into a game against the Pacers. The Pacers out of any team in the league scare me more than any team because they can just put up points
yeah.
like 20, 25 points in a 2 or 3 minute window. Like it's insane how
But they
fast
don't
they
play
can score.
defense.
I know, but if they're not, we were still getting the same open looks when we gave
Right.
up that 20-point
Yeah,
lead.
that
We just weren't knocking
and
them in.
what's a little scary is it was the starters that came out in the third quarter that lost the lead. It wasn't the bench that did it.
Right.
So
Our
it's a
our bench,
little worrisome, but
I feel good about our bench. I got to be honest. I mean, I feel good about our whole team. I don't want to sound pessimistic because I love the Celtics. I watch most of their games. I think they're a great team. It just makes me really concerned that we haven't, in the Tatum Brown era, we haven't figured out that we can't have these small little lulls, sometimes big lulls, in the middle
it,
of a game.
yeah. And what worries me about the Jays is
Yeah.
they're down the stretch. Their free throw shooting seems to suck.
Oh,
Like I
Jalen
have
Brown,
no
Jalen Brown in
confidence
particular.
if if the Celtics are down by two and Tatum gets fouled and shooting two, I have no confidence that he's going to hit both of them to tie the game.
I know. I'm more confident with Tatum, but definitely both of them have their
Yeah.
issues. I mean, if you put White at the line or you put Holiday at the line, I'd be like, okay, we're probably good. But you put the Jays at the line, and it's like, oh god. And
So
the other. Oh, go ahead.
I got a question for you.
Yeah,
How do you feel about the 2-for-1 at the end of a quarter?
hate it. I
It,
hate it.
so I was talking about this with Tyler last night, and it's like oh, they got to get the 2-for-1. I'm like, it doesn't make sense because it always seems like they just rush their first shot to get
Right,
one up in time, and then they usually are, you know, taking a last second shot for the second one. Neither is a good look. It's like I'd rather
right.
them take the time down the first possession and get a good look than to try to force two bad shots up.
I would love to see stats on the 2-for-1 thing
Yeah.
because, and I'm sure they're out there somewhere. But the fact that they rushed, I agree with you. They rushed their first shot, and then Tatum will come down. Almost always Tatum. Sometimes it's Brown, and he'll just dribble for 10 seconds and then leave
ISO
himself 3 or 4 seconds to shoot.
ISO
And it's like,
hero ball. That's what I call it.
and, yeah, and he's gotten so since this year in particular, he's gotten so much better about not playing hero ball. But in the last few seconds of every quarter, it comes down to that for them for some reason, and I don't get it. It's one thing if it's the end of the game, right? Let's say you're up one, it's the end of the, or you're
Yeah.
down one, and it's the end of the game, and you're like, all right, well, we're either going to win or we're going to lose here, so let's just get a good shot. But it's the second quarter, and you're like trying to close out. I mean, last night I think we got an open shot, but then we left enough time on the clock for Halliburton to come down and throw up a three. So it's
Yep.
like it didn't even really work out. It never works out.
Yep.
So I,
Yeah.
I don't I don't like it. I don't like it personally. Where's your head at on the reserves? I know Tatum already made the All-Star game, and they're announcing the reserves tomorrow, I think. So, you think any Celtics will make the reserves?
Yeah, I think they'll get one guy in,
Okay,
whether it's Porzingis
for the
or
All-Star game, I mean.
Brown, probably.
Yeah, you think Brown?
I, I don't know. It's like I don't know how they fill it. Like if they do two, because it not a lot of players actually play an actual position like the old school positions. Like
Yeah,
even like the so-called centers, like Embiid, like he'll dribble the ball down. He can be like a point forward sometimes. There there's no traditional positions anymore. So I would just fill it with the next best whatever six players, whatever they're filling it with,
right.
instead of oh well we can only take one forward, one center.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. I think it should be positionless personally. I mean, they've basically made the all NBA stuff that at the end of the season, they've
Yeah,
made that sort of positionless. I mean, they're not going to make I mean, it's too late for this year for them to make it that, but for me, I think Brown's going to make it as a reserve. I I would love to see Derek White make it, but I
yeah.
sincerely doubt that
That's
he's going to
that's a
make it.
tough. He's in a tough position
Right. There's
to.
so much competition
Yeah,
there. And then I don't know if you saw last night, but Joel Embiid got hurt again. And I hate to see a guy get hurt. I love Joel Embiid, except when he's playing us. Um, and so if he was to go down and they needed a replacement,
that could open for
Porzingis could
Porzingis.
potentially play in the All-Star game. So
Yeah.
I think you could have three Celtics if that were to happen. If Embiid decides he's going to play, he's feeling better. I mean, it's still a week and a half away or 2 weeks away. Um, then I think it's just going to be Jalen and Jason. And I think the league liked that last year when the two teammates were going toe to toe in the NBA in the All Star game and stuff too. So it'll be interesting. I mean, I know you have a disdain for LeBron. I don't see LeBron making the NBA and making the All Star team if he didn't get voted in by the fans. To be honest with you, I mean, I know he did get voted in, but I would be surprised if he was
Yeah, he's
put as a
still
reserve.
I do hate on him a lot, but he's still one of the best players in the league still at his age.
You
It
think
just
so?
it's just it, so when he does reserve a lot of energy.
Yeah,
So it's like like I said back when in the in season tournament, he wanted to win that. So every game that they played that was an in season tournament game, he gave his 100%,
gave
and they
everything.
won.
Yeah,
They won every game. I don't think they lost one game out of all
right.
those. So they he's he can do it for one game. That's why I don't think even if they make the playoffs that they they got lucky last year. I think going as far as they did, I don't think they get that lucky again
Yeah.
because he just can't do it. He can't bring it for a whole series.
Yeah, I agree. And they don't have well, we'll be able to I mean, it'll be a good measuring stick when they come to town tomorrow night
Yeah,
to play the Celtics, which is funny because it's part of rivalry week, which I get. Or is it still rivalry week? I think it's still rivalry week. I get it, but it's like it's not really much of a rivalry. I mean, the Lakers aren't that great right now.
yeah.
But I say that right now, we'll probably get killed tomorrow night.
I
But
mean, they still do the
um
whole thing with the Yankees and the Red Sox, even though both of them suck. So
I know both of them are that's true.
yeah, it's
Um
I know that's the thing during the way the schedules, like I keep bringing it up, and I
Here's
feel
the
like
schedule
this,
again.
I feel like the schedules are worse this year. It, one with them being on the same night as the Bruins, it seems like almost every night they're both on the same night, and then
Yeah.
all the back to backs that they've had, especially like back to back home one night and traveling the next
Oh,
night.
I hate it. It's
It's
awful.
crazy, and
Yeah.
they're not getting, they put all those new rules in to try to get the players to play more games, but the way the schedules are set up, it's I don't blame them for taking time off where you got, so many of these back-to-back games.
Well, what's crazy is our two All NBA guys, the Jays, they never take time off. Like
Right.
never. And I know they're very young compared to a lot of these other guys, but it's almost a guarantee when you turn the Celtics on, both of them are going to play, and
Yep.
every once in a while one of them will be out. But it's
I
almost a
think I
guarantee if they're not hurt, they playing.
probably maybe between the two of them, three, maybe four games that they've
Right.
missed,
Yeah,
which
it's
is
unbelievable. I
good.
mean, it's
Well, it's
amazing.
like someone like Horford. Horford can't do the back to backs.
Yeah.
Porzingis has injury history, so they try to keep him from playing back to backs as much as possible. And
But the
it's
other
just
four,
bad. I think it's bad
White,
for the
Holiday,
game, the way the
I
scheduling
agree.
is set up.
Speaking of the scheduling, the Celtics. So the Celtics we talked about, they have the Lakers tomorrow night. Then they have the Grizzlies coming to town on um, Sunday. Do you think we'll see a Marcus Smart video when he comes to town?
Is he back playing?
I
I
think
know
he is
when
back.
they
He
went
is
to
back playing. Yeah.
when they went there, he wasn't playing. So as long as
85%
oh
sure
yeah,
that he's
they
playing still.
if he's playing, they'll even if he's just there on the bench, they'll I definitely will give him a tribute.
Yeah. I mean, if anybody, any visiting player deserves it, it's him. I
Yeah,
can't remember. I don't think the Mavs have come to town yet. I wonder if they'll do one for Grant Williams too.
I bet they.
Um,
It's an easy enough thing, you know.
yeah, yeah.
He would both of those guys. You know, Marcus was really liked, and Grant Williams was well liked. I think by the fans.
Yeah.
Maybe some of his teammates didn't care for him as much, but the fans definitely liked him.
That was the best. Did you watch the game when they played the Mavericks in Dallas and at the end of the half Tatum blocked his shot? He was trying to do like a
Oh,
half court shot and Tatum blocked his shot. He's just like talking shit to him.
yeah, I
He's
don't
like
think I
on the
got to see.
ground.
I don't think I saw that game because I don't remember watching Luca. I would have
Oh, okay.
remembered that
Yeah, Luca's
because it.
unstoppable. He's unbelievable. All right. So the Celtics are still the best team in the NBA. They are going into the All Star break. It's very unlikely that they would not continue to be the best team in the NBA because they have a 3.5 game lead on the next team. And they are, I think, up 5 in the Eastern Conference. So pretty squarely in first place. Let's hope they continue this trajectory. And it's important to note, I think, that even if we don't, it's almost like I would prefer not to have a lot of all stars because I'd like our guys to get rest. I mean, really,
Right.
who cares about
Yeah.
the all star game? I'd much rather get them rest. Um, the all star game is happening this weekend for the NHL. So let's talk a little bit about the Bruins that are playing in it. And you've talked a little bit about this on the show before, but talk about the different kind of weird. Well, it's not weird, but it's their structure of the All Star game. It's totally different than the NBA, right?
Yeah. So if the NHL overtime is now 3-on-3, that's how
Yeah.
they when they go into overtime. So that's what the play is, and it's a tournament. It's so it will be the two Western Conference divisions play a game, and the two Eastern Conference divisions play a game, and then the winner of those two play each other in the final, and it's 3-on-3, I believe. So the Bruins do have two players on the team. They have oh no, wait, I can't remember Swayman. I know Pasternak's there. Their coach is there. I think Swayman is there.
They don't
I
make it
feel like
easy to find the
I feel like
roster.
they got the goaltender also. One
Okay.
of them. It's exciting. They like the it's moving. I mean, you watch playoff hockey. This is even faster than
Oh
playoff
wow.
hockey, but there's no hitting. You know, there's no checking. It's pretty
Yeah, yeah,
much a
yeah.
just wide open back and forth. You'll see the goalies handle the puck quite a bit during this thing because the players will send it back to the goalie and switch out subs while the goalie has
So
the puck.
it's 3-on-3, but how many people make up the actual team?
so that's how I was trying to remember. So there's one from each team. Then I want to say six on each team.
Okay, so they do have the full line to sub in and out.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's yeah.
And how so is it all in one night?
Yes. So that'll
Okay.
be on Saturday or the Sunday. I forget which. I think it's a Sunday.
I might actually I've never watched hockey in my life, but I might actually watch it because it actually does sound quite interesting
It
and
is an
quite exciting.
exciting. There's usually they play short. They don't play the same amount of time as a regular game, but they'll still
Right.
they'll score. They'll be like 8 goals each. Each team will score close to eight
Yeah.
goals in each one of
Well, if
those
there's no
games.
checking and there's really no defense, I would think it's
Yeah.
a very
It's like
similar to
the
the
NBA All-Star where
yeah.
they try to score 200 points.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it'd be fun to watch. And the skills competition, do you watch the skills competition in
Yeah,
hockey? Yeah.
that's the night before. It's the same thing. They're trying to they're thinking too much. They're like there's this one, I think they call it the best shot, and it's
Mhm.
they get dressed up and try different things, kind of like how the dunk contest has become.
Okay.
It's not as exciting as I like the NBA All Star skills better than the
Oh, that's interesting.
and then actually
Um,
so the football skills is this weekend. They'll
right,
so
at
they
the
have
Pro
a
Bowl, yeah.
skills thing, and then they have the flag football game on Sunday.
So Peyton Manning and Eli Manning, they're the coaches, right?
Yes,
Yeah. I don't understand how the Pro Bowl has become a flag football game
because no one wants to hit. They don't want to
because
hit
nobody wants to.
anymore.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah. 17 weeks of hitting each other is enough.
yeah.
And then the players that are in the playoffs is crazy. Um, all right. Well, you brought it up, so let's go into the Patriots a little bit. So the Patriots have, um, uh, last I checked, they had not identified an OC and a
Nope,
DC.
they're
Have they done
still
that yet?
open. And
Yeah.
as far as the offensive coordinator, I, I have a feeling they're holding out to find out what Josh McDaniels does. I think Josh McDaniels is waiting to see what Belichick does, which
Mm,
he didn't get the Atlanta job, but there's still rumors out there about the Washington job. There's even Adam Schefter came out with something the last couple of days saying that he sees Belichick being the coach of the Chiefs, which there's a lot of
what?
speculation that if Andy Reid wins the Super Bowl, he'll retire
I don't know about that.
and that he
That's
would take over
interesting.
there. Yeah, that
So you know that means he would, in all likelihood, break the record in his first 2 years as the coach of the
yeah,
Chiefs. I mean,
yeah.
um, I don't know. I'd be so torn because
Yeah,
I can't stand the Chiefs. I mean, well, I shouldn't say I can't stand the Chiefs. I can't stand Mahomes. I don't want him to break any of Brady's records, even though I know he probably will. Desperately waiting for Travis Kelsey to retire, although I'm
oh yeah,
sure
I
he
know.
probably won't, even if they win this year, I don't think he will. And what about Seattle? Seattle's another option for Belichick. Seattle could be in the
Yeah,
cards
I think
because
well, they got rid of Carroll, who's an older coach. I think they're looking to get younger
to go
out there.
younger. Yeah, yeah,
So
that's interesting.
I'm thinking there. So the I think the offensive coordinator for the Chiefs is rumored for a job. The same with both coordinators for the
49ers.
49ers are both rumored. So I don't know
Yeah.
if if they're still playing, they can be named a coach. Like they were able to interview teams and coaches that were still in the playoffs like a couple weeks ago, but I don't
Yeah.
think they can name
Right,
if they're
until the
still
actual game
playing.
is over. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Which so there was speculation that the offensive coordinator for the Lions was going to go to Washington, and he came out a couple days ago and said, "Yeah, he's all set."
Well, I heard about that he was asking for 15 million,
Yeah.
which is what Harbaugh got, and it's like, dude, you've never been a head coach in your life. You think you're going to get 15 million dollars your first time out? So and when he didn't get that, he was like, I'll just stay with the Lions
Yeah.
then. That's listen, I mean, if somebody gave me $1 million to coach, I'd probably do it. So, um, but I think 15 million for a first time coach is a lot of money. That would be setting a really high bar. Not that he didn't do an excellent job in Detroit, but
Yeah. But you kind
I
of
just think it's too much.
I can kind of see asking for a lot because you go into a franchise that has been irrelevant since the 80s,
Right.
and they're trying to, now that they got rid of Dan Schneider as the owner, they're trying to fix things there, but it's still, it's kind of, hit or miss. You're kind of probably afraid to go there because there's still a lot of bad mojo in place.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you're probably right. Well, I'll be interested to see if Belichick lands anywhere. I think the Patriots will probably name an offensive coordinator soon and a defensive coordinator
Probably
soon.
right as soon as we're done this show. Within
Probably.
24 hours, it usually
Yeah.
happens, right?
It,
The
have you
breaking
been?
news.
Yes, usually. What happened last 2 weeks? It was like Saban retired like 5 minutes after we finished
Yeah.
finished recording or something. Um, have you been seeing Tom Brady on the rounds? He did the Pat McAfee show. He's done a couple of well, obviously he has his own
I
podcast
haven't
and he's done other stuff.
seen, but I've heard the clips from a lot of the stuff.
Okay,
So he's
it's interesting.
gearing up for next year for
Right, right. And I think it's weird how I don't know. I haven't heard Greg Olson talk a little bit about it, but I think it's weird that Brady is just the number one guy. He just comes in, he's the number one guy. Like Greg Olson has been amazing. I don't know if you like listening to him. I'm not
I
even a big Fox guy,
I,
but
I tell you, I what a drop off from Buck and Aikman though. That
yeah,
and
yeah.
it's like that's Fox's A team, and I'm like,
Right. Right.
I don't even know the other guy's name. I know Olson just because he played, but
Yeah.
I can't even think of
Is it
the other
Kevin
guy's.
something? I don't even
Yeah.
remember his name either.
And I'm like, wow, this is their A, and you're going up. Not that I really don't like either of them, but Romo and Nance, they've been
Yeah.
around. You know them. They're they're good. I I think Romo was really good when he first started, but he's gone
Yeah.
downhill since that. It's like pretty much he proved that he belonged there, and then after that, he was like, "Yeah, I'm just gonna take my paycheck and call it a
I'm gonna
day."
I'm gonna
Because
do
he
my Corona commercials or whatever he does and
and I
move it
just
along.
you're especially with football, it's like you're a national broadcast team. You're not for a specific team, and the
Right.
ass kissing that goes on with some of these commentators is like Romo's the worst. He whichever quarterback he likes better, he just kisses their ass the whole game. It's like, oh my god, dude, you're what are you trying to get a signed autograph after the game or something? It's like he is really bad, and um, ESPN I feel is really bad at doing that too, with a lot of it, like their basketball, their football
I
coverage.
don't
They're
I'm
really
we didn't even talk about it, but I'm not happy that Doc is gone from the broadcast booth. I thought he was so good. He's such a good analyst. He just is honest. I don't feel like he's pulling for any but one team or another. And now that he's gone, it's like I don't even know who they added. I haven't heard a game on ESPN since he left. But
I wonder
um,
if they rehire Van Gundy because they fired him.
well, he's with the Celtics now, so I don't know if they're gonna bring him back.
He's no Stan, not
Oh,
Jeff.
Stan Van Gundy. Oh, I can't
Yeah,
stand him. Oh my god. I couldn't stand the two guys that were well, I like Reggie Miller generally as an announcer, but Kevin Harlan. Oh god, they did the Celtics game last night. Oh my god. The dude,
oh,
honestly,
see,
it's a
that's
regular
I
season game in the middle of the
you don't
season.
watch it on you. Oh, you have the league pass and just whatever they have,
When
they
it's
have.
on national TV, the league pass does not allow me to watch the local broadcast,
Oh, that
which is
sucks.
annoying because I love Scal. Scal's amazing. And
Yeah, And
Um,
last night was Mike Gorman and Scal.
right, which is the best.
Yep.
Um, I don't mind the new guy, Drew, for the road games. I assume he'll take
He's
over for the home
you
games.
know it's he's he's very good. He's very knowledgeable. I just all these new guys because they actually there's a new guy on Nesson that's been filling in on the road for Jack Edwards for
Okay.
hockey, and it's like they're just so cookie cutter. They all have the same type of voice, and
Yep.
they're you know it's it's taken a little bit for me to get used to. Okay, so I guess this is it. We're just gonna
He's
have
the
these
guy.
cookie
Yeah.
cutter guys that are just produced that all sound the same. I know they're plus they're trying to get their feet wet and figure out what they can get away with, and that's why like if at the beginning of the season I was like, oh man, he's kind of rough. Like it
Yeah.
sounds like the same because that's the same thing with the Red Sox. They have their radio guy who's been working with Castiglione. He sounds just
Hmm.
like him. He's very like really monotone,
Okay.
but he has the voice. And the same with the guy that's been filling in once in a while on Nesson for O'Brien. He sounds like Drew. He sounds like he's got that
Yeah, they all
same
sound the same. Yeah.
voice and but Drew's definitely gotten better as the season's gone on. He gets a little. Sometimes Scal has to reel him in and calm him down a little bit because it's
Yeah, he
like this
does.
is only the regular season. Wait till we
It's
get to
just
the playoffs.
we're not even 42 games in yet, dude. Just
Yeah,
settle down a
yeah,
little bit.
that's good.
um,
And
but the thing with Brady is that the reason I brought it up is because it's like a weird this new era of, and it's not brand new, but of like the legendary athletes, and it happens more in football than it does in any other sport. Immediately after they retire from the sport, becoming analysts, it just dulls them for me a little bit. Like I think about like if Larry Bird, now he's not Mr. Personality or anything, but if Larry Bird had retired in 92 or 93, whenever he retired, and immediately went to ESPN and started calling games, I feel like the mystique would be almost lost a little bit. You know what I mean? Like I don't
that,
really want to hear Tom Brady talk on a podcast for an hour and a half and
yeah,
tell me all about, the inside stories of when they were, winning championships. I'm like, let's just keep that like how I remember it. I don't want to hear the
I'm
the
looking
ups and downs
forward
of it.
to because I like the color analysts that actually teach you something. Like that's a
Yes,
Romo was really good his first year.
he was very
Like
good.
he would tell you what was going to happen ahead of the time
Yep.
or what they should do and that that's what was so good about Jerry Remy. He
Right.
would tell tell you what he's thinking and what he sees and what that means, what he thinks is going to happen.
Yep.
I hate the color guys that are just they tell you what happened after it happened. It's like that's
Right.
fine for the people that really don't know the game that they're just like they're just watching
Casual fan. Yeah.
and but like people that know a little bit that have been watching forever and know a little they're looking to see it through their eyes like that's have you ever watched any of the Manning cast?
Oh yeah, I like the Manning cast. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they're great. They're they tell you something like they're telling you what they're seeing from being a quarterback, like what they're
Right.
seeing, what they're reading, what and explaining all that to you. And that's what I'm hoping we're gonna get from Brady.
Yeah, I mean, I hope that's what we get from him too. But it
Yeah.
just from what I've heard from his, his media appearances so far, I've been like, I wish you just kind of stayed just being Tom Brady
He's
who
a
won these Super
yeah.
Bowls. Like, I don't really need to hear from you every Sunday. But
Well, that's the
Scal is
thing.
really good at analyzing the game too. Like Scal
Oh
will,
yeah. Yep.
he always talks about like, oh, I don't like where, I don't like how we're playing right now. Our body language isn't great. He's looking at all those things that, even the avid fan might not pick up on right away. But he
See,
kind of points it out.
with him, he one, he was a player. Two,
Yeah.
he's coached. And three, he has worked with a lot of these players throughout the league, like at
Right.
camps, like big man camps. Like he's worked with not just Celtics players, he's worked with a lot of players throughout the league. So
Yeah.
I, he is very good, and I'm glad it looks like they're keeping him around.
I hope
I was
so.
kind of worried at first, like they when so who was when Heinsohn stopped doing it, they would put Scal in here and there, and I'm like, I really liked him, and the other people that would do it, I was like, yeah, these guys aren't that good. The Scal was really good, and
Yeah, he is very good. I hope they keep him around. Uh oh, I forget what I was going to say, but so the Patriots are in a holding pattern until the Super
yeah.
Bowl, I would assume. They don't want to. I'm sure the NFL has this thing where you can't step on the news of the Super Bowl.
So
Um,
other than right, yeah, definitely not during Super Bowl weekend or Super Bowl week. You have to
right.
make your announcements before or after. But
Yeah.
the real stuff's gonna start happening March 1st is when
Right.
the new season, like the new calendar for the next season starts, and that's when things when they can start doing free agency and stuff like that. So,
So I
according to Mayo, they got a lot of money to spend. So I'm
was that in the succession plan too? I don't know. I don't know. Was the money in there too? Because they certainly didn't unleash it for Belichick in the last few
yeah,
years. So we'll wait and see, I guess. Um, this time of year used to be one of my favorite times because, I mean, obviously because the Patriots were generally in the conversation this time
yeah.
of year for the last 20 years. Um, in the last few years, the Celtics have been a part of the conversations. The Bruins have been a part of the conversation, and it was the All Star break, so it was kind of fun to see all the players get together and stuff. But then you also had pitchers and catchers. In just another week, we've
Oh,
got
yep,
pitchers and
yep.
catchers
We would be
reporting.
excited for the Red Sox to
Right.
start.
The spring is about to spring, and it would have been amazing, and everybody would be so excited about it. But this year, it almost feels like let's just have another 6 months of winter because
Yeah, and
I
I'm
can't with
also
this stupid
I'm
team.
a not a I wouldn't say I'm a big NASCAR fan anymore. I'm a pretty casual fan.
Casual.
I'll
Yeah.
sit and if I'm home, I'll watch the race pretty much every
Okay.
week. And Daytona 500 is in February also. So, and they added a race which I can't remember if it's this week. Yeah, I think it's this weekend. They they build a track at the um, LA Coliseum,
Okay.
and but so you think LA Coliseum is huge and stuff. You think but it's this little tiny like half-mile track, and so that I think this is the second or third year they've done it. It's actually a pretty fun race to watch because there's a lot of
Because it's short.
bumping and when there's not a lot of room, they have to make room, so it gets exciting that way.
So
So I'm
is
looking
it
forward to another NASCAR season. You know, a lot of these young drivers I can't get behind. They all feel like they're
why?
the same type. They they just I don't know. It's hard. Like I like the old school guys where they let their racing do the talking. Once in a while they have um brawls in the pits once in a while,
Yeah.
but they would let the talking happen on the racetrack. And now it's like any little thing that someone does, it's like this huge problem, and they all chase each other after the race, and it's the kind of
Jeez.
snotty nosed kids, is how I look at them.
Oh, that's I love that. I love that you're watching it and you're like angry old man
Yeah.
screaming at the
Yep.
TV watching
Yep.
these guys race around a track. Um, so is this the one that they hold at the Coliseum? Is that part of the regular season or
No, it's a non-points race.
oh okay.
They call it the
Just for
Clash at the Coliseum, something like that. So
okay.
yeah, it doesn't mean anything towards. You had to have done something last season to qualify to race in it.
Oh,
I don't
all
know if
right.
it's you had to win a race or whatever, but there's some stipulation to be able to race in it. And then
Interesting.
the week leading up to Daytona is they have all different little races to qualify for your position in the race. So it's usually
Have you ever been
I've
to a NASCAR race in person?
yes, I've been to
Oh, you have.
Loudon, New Hampshire
Oh yeah, yeah.
multiple times, but
Okay.
like Daytona is, they say it's the Super Bowl of NASCAR. It's their biggest race, but I have I haven't really had a desire to go to to the bigger tracks because they're so big. It's a 2.5 mile track. You can't see the whole track when you're
Yeah.
sitting there. Like Loudon's a mile track, you can see the whole race. With the Daytona, it's and the same with Talladega. That's a big track. Also, they go really fast, but it's it's kind of a boring. It's a boring and exciting race. If
Okay.
because so they get tight together. They're in a pack most of the race, and there's not a lot of passing going on, but there is
Yeah.
usually a couple big wrecks in it. So that's the exciting part, as long as no one gets hurt.
And then and then fights ensue.
Yeah, I mean it is amazing. Have you ever watched any NASCAR races?
Only a very small amount, not
Yeah,
not enough
and
to
like
really get
seeing
into it.
some of these crashes and where they get out and walk away like nothing happened, it's just amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very much impressed with the drivers of the cars. I mean, it's definitely a skill. I don't know if it's a sport in my opinion, but it's definitely a skill.
Yeah,
But I do think it's pretty impressive that they actually drive and very rare. Well, not very rarely. I mean, they get into accidents, but they, like you said, they walk away from them and they
yeah.
live to race another day. So it's interesting. Um, so before we go, I have to get your take on some Funko Pop news.
Oh,
Have you heard about the Funko Pop that's going to be made about Jason Kelsey jumping out of the window and shirtless with a beer in his
oh
hand?
no,
Have you heard about that?
no.
Oh, I got to share my screen. I'm going to quickly share my screen here with you. Let's see.
Taylor Swift's not in the background, is she?
No, no, she's not. Can you see that?
Uh, it's oh
It's got
oh.
Funko.
Is
It's
that
got
for real?
Funko. Yeah, they're
Like,
teaming up. They're doing it for charity.
oh, that's awesome. That I bet I'm gonna go tell Steph when we're done this. She's like, "Oh yeah, I seen that." I'm like, "Oh, I seem to miss a lot of stuff."
Yeah, maybe what's going on? You're not, and you're on the socials all the time.
I
I'm
know.
surprised you didn't see that.
And
Does
usually
Steph listen to the
Tyler sends me
Kelsey
stuff.
podcast?
What's that?
Does Steph listen to the Kelsey podcast?
I don't think so. She
Oh,
can't
okay.
stand Travis.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Oh, well, I can actually see that. He's kind of annoying.
yeah.
Jason's
She
actually kind
loves
of,
Jason, but
yeah,
she's had Travis a couple times in fantasy, but other than that, she can do without him, especially
yeah.
now.
He's obnoxious. When he's on the podcast, like he doesn't, he's like the annoying, like dumb football player from high school. Like he's
Yeah,
such a stereotypical
dumb jock.
dumb jock
Yeah.
that it's like when you first hear it, it's like, oh, ha ha ha, that's funny. And then it's like if you listen to him talk for more than 10 minutes, you're like, all right, I just want to kill myself. Just make this man
So
shut
you
up right
don't
now.
think it's like an act? You think that's legit him?
I don't know because I always go back and forth on that about Gronk because Gronk. Everybody says, "Oh, Gronk is such a smart football player," but then you listen to him talk, and he's such a
Well, you can be
dumbass.
smart at your sport and just understand what's going on, but yeah, not be. I mean, that's the same with people that like I've had friends that are, they're really book smart, but like common sense wise, they're
Yeah,
idiots. You know.
that's true. Yeah, that's true. I mean, there everybody says Gronk is really smart. Everybody says Kelsey is very smart, and I believe that to be true because I think to play any sport, especially football, at a professional level, you have to be pretty bright. I mean, you have to be physically gifted, but you have to be at least intelligent enough to be able to.
And to be
Um,
able to you have to think the same way as your quarterback.
Right.
The
Right.
play is drawn up, but then there's variations of the play depending on how the defense plays you. So
Yep.
if like Brady reads it one way and you read it another way, then you're gonna be in the wrong spot. But to be on the same page, and that's what Brady had with Gronk, and that's what Mahomes has with Kelsey. Like they know where they're gonna be if something if this happens, that's what makes them both great is that they both see the same thing and they can that's Brady did that with Edelman, just being on
Yeah.
the same page. But
Somehow
there's
Brady
definitely
Brady was
there's
able to do that with a bunch of people. Yeah.
yeah. So that's being football smart, not so
Football smart.
much
Yeah.
smart.
Yeah, and I think that's what he is. I think he's football smart. He's like on this podcast. Everybody's talking about like, oh, he's going to be the next Rock. He's going to be the next John Cena. I'm like, I don't see it. But
Oh no.
I
He
don't know. I
tried
didn't see it when the
Gronk
Rock was the Rock, to be honest. Huh?
Gronk talking about Gronk.
No, no.
Oh,
Kelsey.
Kelsey. Oh really?
Yeah. That's what I've heard people say because I
Yeah.
think because he's doing the podcast and people think, oh, he's, doing all these commercials and stuff. And, we'll admit he's a decent looking guy. So he, has the ability to go out and do it. I can't remember how he was on Saturday Night Live, if he was any good on Saturday Night Live, but,
Oh, that's what
um,
the Mannings were awesome on Saturday Night Live.
oh, the Mannings were the best. The
Yeah.
best, the best sketch on Saturday Night Live, in my opinion, was the Manning one where he's was it coaching youth football?
Oh yeah, the all
Oh my
state,
God.
right? Something like
Yeah, it was so funny.
yeah.
And he's in a different level on that. I mean, you have to. Brady could
Even
never
Eli,
touch
do you,
him.
do you remember the Eli one when he's in court?
No, I don't remember that one.
Oh, you get, look up Eli Manning on SNL. So there's he's being questioned by the prosecutor, right? And there's like all these texts that he sent to this girl. So I think he was like stalking this girl, and
Yeah,
it's like, what does that mean? And he's explained it, but that is like, it's he's funny. He did a real good job. That I tell you, both Mannings did way better than Brady did on Saturday Night Live.
yeah. It's so hit or miss with athletes, right? When they go on
Yeah,
SNL, it's but Brady was okay, but he wasn't great.
yeah.
I just found the sketch, so after we're done here, I'll watch it.
All right,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, the Mannings are great, and I think the Mannings will be good at the flag football thing this weekend. I don't know
Yeah,
how
they
much of
did
it
it
I'll
last
watch.
year.
Yeah.
I think they're mic'd up during the game, so that's always good.
See, that's fun. I like when they're
Yeah,
mic'd up. You know what NBC Sports Boston has started to do is mic up some of the players during the Celtics games,
yeah,
which
yeah.
has been kind of fun. Peyton Pritchard sucks at it. I mean, maybe they're not looking for him to be amazing, but
I
Hauser
tell
is
you.
really good.
So the one with Hauser, he was standing next to Cornette.
Yeah.
Did you see
Yeah.
Cornette's like,
Yes.
yeah, I have this. I have to tell you stuff about me that for some reason I can't figure out why. Cornette's is a character.
Yeah, he is. I love when he dunks and he goes down the court with like the butterfly.
Yeah,
I don't even know what that's about, but I think it's hysterical. Oh man. All right, I think we've covered a lot of ground here, especially since the Red Sox are giving us absolutely nothing to talk about, which, it's like when you only have three sports, even the Patriots are reasonably interesting right now. More so than they were during the regular season, that's for sure, but the Red Sox are giving us nothing to talk about. So,
yeah.
we have to talk about old Eli Manning sketches on
I'm
SNL.
gonna have to start filling. I'm gonna have to start going to I think college basketball with my wrap ups because like right now, so Celtics aren't playing tonight. They're not playing tomorrow night, so I can't say what happened tonight and or
Right.
say who they're playing tomorrow night. I got 2 days with nothing, so I'm gonna have to at least on my Thursdays I do the throwback Thursday stuff.
Oh
So
yeah,
that
yeah.
gives me something for that. But I
I
mean,
think they're playing the Lakers tomorrow night.
oh, that's right, yeah.
Yeah.
But they have
I
two
think it's
days
tomorrow
off
night.
after that, I think.
Right, right. Friday and
Yeah.
Saturday they have off. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So and then they play the Grizzlies, and then they play. So they actually have quite a few games before the All Star break. Now that I'm looking at it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. probably 6. 7. They have 7. I almost bought tickets to the Valentine's Day game, but I didn't think that would go over well with my wife. So I decided that I would skip that because actually they're playing the Nets and the tickets are actually reasonably inexpensive. But I thought I would save my marriage as opposed to going to see the Celtics play. So.
Dude, that's something, right? Like my wife would love it, like if I did that,
Oh,
especially if
really?
it was the Bruins. If it was a Bruins game, oh yeah, she'd be.
Well, the thing is that if it was just me and her going to the game, it would be she would love that because we
Yeah,
get to spend time together. But my daughters are really into the Celtics, and they wouldn't let me live it down if I bought tickets to the Celtics and didn't bring them. And so, then it's like, okay, well now it's not a date night or anything. It's like
yeah,
a family
yeah.
night, which is fine. A family night is fine too, but on Valentine's Day, date
Family
night's
night,
probably
you have to
preferable.
take out a mortgage though.
Yeah, it's true. Even with the Nets in town, that's
Yeah,
true.
yeah,
All right, Rubber Shoes, it's been real, man. We'll catch you guys next Wednesday on atbshow.com. I don't know for sure, but I think we'll have a full house next week. I know I'll be here. I'm pretty sure you're going to be here, Rubber Shoes, right? And we will be talking Super Bowl for the most part, which we talked almost none about today. So we'll get predictions in next week and everything. And don't forget to check out Rubber Shoes rant and wrap up. That's at atbshow.com or on any of our socials that you follow us. And are we still on Hat of the Day? Are we still doing Hat of the Day?
yeah. Oh yeah, I got a lot to
Okay.
go still.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay. All right. So Hat of the Day comes out every day too. So follow along and you can see the wardrobe. Hopefully no wardrobe
oh
malfunctions,
yeah.
but the wardrobe of one Rubber Shoes, Corey. And we will catch you again next week. Have a great week, everybody.